BMW's R12G/S. Is it just a pretty retro scrambler, or is it genuinely a serious bit of kit for on-road and off-road riding fun? That's exactly what we're going to find out today in this motovlog. Let's go. Hello and welcome to another motovlog. You can see that alongside the R12G/S, there's also the Triumph Scrambler 1200XE standing here. Another scrambler that really means business, whether we're talking looks, nostalgia, or performance. There'll be a motovlog on that one too, as well as a standalone review video and a comparison between these two premium scramblers. But we're not there yet. Right now it's all about this motovlog, which means I'm throwing a leg over the R12G/S, and we're going to see together what it's like to ride and what stands out to me in this first impression. Underneath me, yes, the 1170 Boxer engine, the old air-cooled, air and oil-cooled 1200, and now we're bringing it to life. A Boxer engine really is something all of its own, with its own character. And you can feel that, I'd say that's a big part of the R12G/S's charm as well. Right then, let's see how it handles these bends here. We're on one of my favorite roads in Spain, full of brilliant corners. You do have to be a bit careful with the Michelin Anarchy Wilds fitted, especially as they're still completely cold. So you've got to watch the lean angle a bit, but it's mad what's possible on a set of 50/50 tires. And also what's possible with an engine that's actually properly old now. The 1200, the era of the 1200 GS, the air and oil cooled one, that was quite a while ago now. And here it is again in lovely retro trim. It calls the R80 GS to mind, but it rides like a modern bike. That's really the first thing that stands out to me, and the thing I find so fascinating. What I mean is that you can take such an old engine and tame it like this, or tune it so precisely, link it up with all the new lean sensitive electronics, and have it all work absolutely spot on. Even the quick shifter. You can see I'm changing gear the whole time without the clutch. Even though it's got a shaft drive, which does make things more complicated, even though it's an old engine, the quick shifter is genuinely superb. Really, really good. It does need a bit more pressure on the gear lever with your foot to trigger it, but it's crisp and quick. Yes, lovely. Then what about the turn-in? Obviously, we've still got a fair bit of weight here, even though compared with a modern GS at least, the R12G/S sits noticeably lower. There's much less bulk building up in front of you here. It still feels like a bike that carries a bit of weight with it. BMW quotes 229 kilograms. So it's not the lightest bike, but the center of gravity sits in a fairly favorable place despite the quite long suspension travel. 210 millimeters at the front and 200 at the rear. So yes, for a Boxer it already sits relatively tall, but through the bends it's extremely eager, nicely so, almost a little bit tippy. On these knobbly tires, you almost have to be a bit careful that with the input through this wide handlebar, you don't let it drop into lean too much. But it stays predictable. And we've also got fully adjustable, high quality suspension on board. That means you can really feel that when you trail the brakes into the corner here and then drive it back out again, you know exactly what the bike is doing. Other than that, the ergonomics are extremely relaxed. Lovely. Your knees just tuck in neatly here against the tank, along this nicely shaped tank. That fits perfectly. The seat, as far as I can judge so far on this short ride, is comfortable too, and the riding position is completely upright. Your arms rest naturally, elbows wide, on this broad handlebar. It's a typical adventure bike riding position. It should be said that our test bike here is fitted with the Enduro Pro package. That's why, for example, we've got these more aggressive Michelin tires on it. Likewise, things like a solid engine guard, these hand guards, enduro footrests, basically the essentials you need if you want to duck off into loose terrain now and then. And it also includes bar risers for a better standing position. So it's properly ready to head off onto loose ground. And rather than talking about it any longer, we're turning off right now. Spain is just brilliant. You come over that bridge up there, like I was riding a moment ago, and straight away you've got loose terrain right here. And now we're switching straight into the proper riding mode. Enduro. Whoops, yes, that's one of the little criticisms. And even though the quick shifter works brilliantly, the feel at the lever itself is a bit vague, a bit hard to read. There's quite a lot of free play. Like, where do I need to go? I think I need to go straight on. There's quite a lot of slack in the gear lever. So every now and then I miss it, or I just don't manage to get it into first. But never mind. Right, I'm confused. I should actually be heading over there, shouldn't I? I think I need to go that way. Is this it? Yes. Oh, yes. right? I found it not that easy when you don't really know the area, but now there's a really fun stretch coming up. And it's fun not just because it's very pretty and varied. Here and there it gets a bit rougher, in between a lot of very gentle gravel. I didn't dare tackle anything more than that with this posh press bike, despite the good tires. But even so, I think the ergonomics, for example, are exceptionally well done. Another little teaser for the comparison with the Triumph, that's not the case there. And here you've got plenty of room between the footrests and the bars. You can move around brilliantly. The tank here too, and the way it's been shaped, freedom of movement for your legs, really big praise to BMW. I felt right at home straight away on what is, after all, actually quite a heavy bike. The engine, of course, has torque for days. That's why I'm riding it now in Enduro mode rather than Enduro Pro, which I've also got on board. Simply because, although I can switch over anyway, right, Enduro Pro, because I think it's mad. Okay, I'm also riding with road pressures at the moment, but how quickly you can break traction here with this boxer motor. The torque, it's seriously punchy. Honestly, it only takes the slightest input. Just a tiny flick of the wrist is enough. And the rear's already stepping out. You really do have to be a bit delicate with it. Same goes for the brake, though that's more of a criticism. I think if you're already saying, right, this is our off-road machine, and it's not just me saying that. If you go onto BMW's R12G/S website, all it talks about is off-road riding, adventure, and so on. So BMW clearly wants to push it in that direction, at least according to the marketing. And in that case, I think they could have tuned the Brembo brakes to be a bit gentler. At the front as well, I already find it quite, but especially at the rear, it feels like an on-off switch. Barely any travel in the lever, and the brake pads are already biting. So there too, you need a really good sense of feel, not at your fingertips, but at your toe tips, just as much as you do at the wrist. I've gone wide again, completely by accident. But other than that, apart from these little points where you just need to be a bit careful, it's genuinely a great riding experience. The suspension too is capable, with plenty in reserve, not overly soft at all. These are actually set up quite taut and performance-oriented, at least in this press bike, as we've got it here. But still comfortable enough that you could just let it carry you along in a relaxed way over this sort of terrain, or ride a rough stretch on the road as well. No problem. The suspension travel has plenty in hand. I see this bike as an interesting one, really, for anyone who, first of all, has some sort of connection to BMW and to the old boxer motors. I think that counts for a lot. If you can identify with it a bit, maybe if you've got fond memories from the past, because that boxer charm is breathing here. It's alive in this bike in pretty much every second you're riding it. And then of course beyond that, I think it'll also appeal to people who say, look, I don't ride so much off-road that I need something genuinely light. I can get on well with big adventure bikes too, which these days can very quickly weigh anywhere from 210 to 250 kilos. But I don't want to ride those heavily built up angular adventure bikes that so many people are riding these days. The ones you see everywhere. No, I want something stylish, something beautiful, but which basically does exactly the same job and delivers the same performance too, it has to be said. Sure, on a big touring motorway stint, you might miss a bit of wind protection here on the R12GS, but otherwise, in terms of power, cornering performance and off-road ability, I haven't seen anything yet that it can't do. Yes, I'm very excited. Next week, Bernd Hiemer, Supermoto World Champion and a seriously capable rider is dropping by, and he'll have a proper go on this R12GS as well and show a bit more of what you can do with it than I, soft lad that I am doing here. And then I'm expecting the R12G/S to get properly airborne at some point, just as it should. Right, short break, quick look at it from the outside. I've actually already told you my basic impressions now. And another thing that pleases me, yes, we've got a very modern bike here with electronics too, nicely disguised, I think, by this analog, or mostly analog display, analog style dash. It's still a modern machine, but you don't notice it in the same way. You don't find yourself dealing with all these electronic systems as much as you do on other adventure bikes. And that alone, not just the engine, but that as well, makes it feel like a more purist riding experience somehow. And I think that's a big plus point, or even a unique selling point, that this R12G/S brings with it. And because of that, it also delivers a unique riding experience, right? We'll keep testing it a bit more over the next few days. Let's see what the weather does. The forecast isn't looking all that great, but it'll definitely still work out for the comparison with the Triumph Scrambler 1200 XE. The motovlog on that is still to come as well, so stay tuned for more impressions. Thanks for watching, and do let me know your thoughts on the R12G/S on this retro off-road Scrambler Enduro package. And with that, Thanks again for watching. Take care and see you soon.